Hello grade 3, how are you? This video inshallah is going to be the answering sheet video. This is an extra sheet. You didn't take it in the class. I didn't upload it as a homework as an extra but I will upload it by the video next to the video so you can upload it and answer it. Okay, if you want to upload it now, upload it and print it and answer it with me. The dissolving worksheet. Let's move to the first page. Separating and dissolving. Question number 1. Can you dissolve sand? Can you dissolve sand? No, of course no. You cannot dissolve sand. The answer is no, I can't, as sand is insoluble. What is a solution? What is a solution? Solution is a mixture of soluble solute and its solvent. So solution is a mixture of soluble solute. The solute must be soluble and its solvent, like for example the sugar solute and the water solvent, or salt solute and water solvent. So solution is mixture of soluble solute and its solvent. 3. Will coffee dissolve in water? Will coffee dissolve in water? Yes, it will dissolve in water. Coffee will dissolve in water. That's how we are getting the taste of the coffee when we make a cup of coffee. So the answer is yes, it will. Can rice be dissolved in water? Can rice be dissolved in water? No. Excellent. The answer is no. Question number 5. Look at the beakers below. In which beaker would the sugar dissolve fastest? Beaker A or beaker B? Remember that beaker means cup. Beaker A contain cold water and sugar. Beaker B contain warm water and sugar. The answer is going to be, I think it's beaker B, because of the warm water. And as you know, the hotter the water, the faster the dissolving. Question number 6. Does stirring sugar in tea speed up the dissolving? Does stirring sugar in tea speed up the dissolving? Yes, it does. As you know, stirring speed up the dissolving process, so it does. Which do you think would dissolve fastest? Granulated sugar or sugar cubes? Number 7. Which do you think would dissolve fastest? Granulated sugar or sugar cubes? It's gonna be granulated sugar. Excellent. As you know, the smaller the particle of the solute, the faster the dissolving, and granulated sugar is much smaller than the sugar cubes. So granulated sugar will dissolve faster than the sugar cube. Question 8. Will chalk dissolve in water? Chalk. You know the chalk? Chalk is a kind of rock that they used to use it in writing on the blackboard. They used to use a blackboard, not whiteboard like our boards nowadays. They used to use a blackboard, one black, and they wrote with the white chalk and so many colors of chalk actually on this blackboard. Will this chalk dissolve in water? You can Google it and you'll find it. In Arabic we call it tabashir. So will chalk dissolve in water? It will not. It will not dissolve in water. Same as flour. Turn to page 3. Solutions. When a solid is dissolved in liquid, we form a solution. Look at the diagram below. The diagram means the shape. This drawing. Water, the add. sugar and they make sugar solution. Which of the following substances when mixed with water would make a solution? The substance, tick the substance that would make a solution. Make a solution mean the substance will dissolve in water or will dissolve in its solid. Rice, will the rice make a solution? No. Salt, let's move in order. Rice, no. Coffee, yes, it will make a solution as coffee will dissolve in water, giving us the taste of coffee. Sand, no. Salt, yes. Sugar, yes. Flour, no. So we are only going to take salt, sugar and coffee. Only those three solutes will dissolve in water and make solution. Let's move to question 2. Use the bakers below to make a solution of water and a substance. Use the baker below to make a solution of water and a substance. Any substance. You are just going to write water. Maybe you are going to add here any soluble solute like salt, sugar or coffee, and we will make the salt solution or sugar solution or coffee solution. Mixing substances with water and find out whether they are going to dissolve or not. Here we have water and sand. Which of these can be dissolved in water? We have to choose grains of sand, baking soda. Baking soda is a kind of powder. We dissolve it in water and we add it to maybe paste or during making cakes or during making cookies to make them raise and become so spongy and so soft. That's why we use baking soda for. So will it dissolve in water or not? Wood chips, cooking oil. Which of those will dissolve in water? You can ask mommy to bring you some baking soda and try them in water and they will dissolve. It will dissolve. So the only substance that will dissolve in water from those substances is the baking soda. Grains of sand will not dissolve. Wood chips will not dissolve. Cooking oil will not dissolve. Only the baking soda, and you can try it. Move to page 4. Okay. Vishal has a mixture of salt and sand. He adds some water and stirred the mixture. Complete the sentences below to show what will happen to the salt and sand mixture after Vishal stirs in water. The salt will dissolve, excellent. The sand will not dissolve as it's insoluble. Excellent. Let's move to question B. Vishal uses his equipment to separate the sand and salt and water. Describe how the sand is separated from salt and water with those equipment. The water, the salt and the sand. What will happen to the solution, salt, sand and water, to this mixture after we put it in the filter paper? The water will pass through the filter paper. The salt will pass through the filter paper. The sand will stay in the filter paper. Describe how the sand is separated from the salt and water with this equipment. The water will pass through the filter paper. The salt will pass through the filter paper as it's already dissolving in water, so it will pass. The sand will stay on the filter paper. Tick one box to show which process Vishal should use to get the salt back from the salt and water mixture. The salt is already dissolved in water as it's soluble. How can we separate it from water? How can we do that? Which process Vishal could use to get the salt back from the salt and water mixture? condensation, filtration, evaporation, or sieving? Of course, it's evaporation. Evaporation, we will get the water and boil it till all the water evaporate, and we get the solid salt in the plate or in the container at which we were boiling the water in. B. Ahmed cannot separate a sugar and salt mixture with any of his sieves. Remember, sugar and salt mixture. He cannot separate them using any of his sieves. As you know, sugar and salt are mostly of the same size. They are of the same size, so he cannot separate them using a sieve. Explain why both sugar and salt go through all Ahmed's sieves. Because they have the same size of particles. And they are very small. That's why they pass from all of Ahmed's sieves. Ahmed mixed salt and water. Salt and water cannot be separated with any sieve. Explain what happened to the salt when he mixed it with water. What happened to the salt when Ahmed mixed it with water? It just dissolved as salt is soluble in water. Question 2. Describe how Ahmed could separate a mixture of salt and water. As we said, any mixture of soluble solute with its solvent like salt and water, we can only separate it using as it's soluble and completely dissolve and completely disappear in the solvent, which is water. Salt completely disappear in water. So how can we separate it? We just boil the water and evaporate it. So the method is evaporating the water, or evaporation method. Water will evaporate and we will get the solid salt in the bottom of our container. Let's move to question D. Ahmed makes a new mixture of soil and water. And remember that soil is insoluble. He sieved the mixture. Some of the soil stay in the sieve, but some of the soil goes through the sieve with the water. Oh, it's a bad way for separating soil and water, actually. I don't know how he think about that. Using a sieve to separate water from soil, of course some of the soil will pass through the sieve. What is the better way for Ahmed to separate more of the soil from the water quickly? What is the better way for Ahmed to separate more of the soil from the water quickly? As you know, soil is insoluble in water, and the only way to separate insoluble solute from its solvent is using the filter paper in the filtration process. So the better way for separating the soil from the water is filtration, because water will pass through the filter paper while soil will stay in the filter paper. Page 7. Ahmed uses different sieve to separate the different mixture. His mixture are made of salt, sugar, rice, dried peas, and pasta. Salt, sugar of same size, rice a bit bigger, dried peas a bit bigger, dried pasta. Ahmed has 3 sieves. Draw 3 lines to match each mixture to the sieve that separate the mixture. Mixture of salt and rice. Salt and rice. Of course, they are very small, so we are going to use the smallest sieve. So this sieve is suitable for this mixture. Rice and peas, much bigger but still small, so this sieve, as they are a bit bigger than this mixture, their particles are a bit bigger. Those are very big, so we need peas to pass and pasta to stay. So we are going to use this sieve. So we have 3 kinds of sieves. The smallest sieve will be suitable for the smallest particles. Of course, salt will pass and rice will stay in the sieve. And this is suitable for the bit bigger particles like rice and peas peas. Rice will pass and peas will stay. In this mixture of pasta and peas, we'll use the biggest sieve, the sieve with the largest opened. Peas will pass and pasta will stay. Let's move to the next page. Page 8. Some children are investigating separating salt mixtures. Josh wants to separate a mixture of salt and dry pasta. He decides to use a sieve. What feature of the salt and pasta allow Josh to separate them with sieve? What did Josh look for so he decided to use the sieve? Why he decides to use the sieve in case of this mixture? Why? What's feature? What the thing in the salt and pasta that make him use a sieve? That make him decide to use a sieve? What feature of the salt and pasta allow Josh to separate them with a sieve? They having different sized particles. Their particles are different in size. Salt is very small while pasta is big, so salt will pass through the sieve while pasta will stay inside it. How could Grace separate the sand from the salty water? We have sand in a salty water. Grace wants to separate them. How? Sand is insoluble in the water, in the salty water. So how can she separate the sand? How can she separate the sand from the salty water? Insoluble solute from solvent? Using filtration process. Through filtration process using the filter paper. How could Grace separate salt from water? And salt is soluble in water. Salt is soluble. How can she separate it? Evaporation. She need to evaporate the water to get the solid salt in the bottom of her beaker or bowl or container or whatever. Ahmed cannot separate a sugar and salt mixture with any of his sieves. Explain why. Actually, we did this page. Yes, we did it. And we did this page. Now let's do this. Safara wants to separate the soil from her mixture of soil and water. Tick one box to show which equipment would be best for separating the soil from water. Which equipment should be best for separating the soil from water? And remember, soil is insoluble in water, so the best way is filtration using the funnel and the filter paper. Excellent. Next page. Amy's family are at the beach during the summer. Amy and her sister have a bucket containing seawater and sand. This bucket contains seawater and sand. Read the following statement, which is true and which is false. Water is a solvent for salt. Water is a solvent for salt. True. Sand is soluble in water. Sand is soluble, which means it will dissolve in water. False. Sand dissolves in water to give sandy water solution. Sand dissolves in water to give sandy water solution. False. When a solid dissolves in water, the solid is called a solute. When a solid dissolves in water, the solid is called a solute. True. The solid is called a solute and the water is called solvent. And the mixture is called solution. Question B. Seawater contains dissolved salt. Describe what Amy can do to separate salt from the seawater. What Amy can do to separate salt from the seawater. As I told you, some countries actually don't have a river to get fresh water from. So they use the seawater. They just take the water and boil it, so water evaporate, and they take this evaporating gas to convert it to water to get it as fresh water to drink, while the salt will stay in their container at which they are boiling the water. So seawater contains dissolved salt. Describe what Amy can do to separate salt from seawater. She can just evaporate water and she will get the salt in her container, at which she is boiling the water at. We did this page. This is the last page. Yusuf has been given some mixtures to separate. Match the best method of separation by drawing a line from the mixture to the method. Here we have a mixture of salt and gravels, solid and solid, solid and solid of different size. So it's gonna be sieve. Salt solution, soluble solid in its solvent, evaporation. Stainless steel and paper clips and brass drawing pins. Brass is non-magnetic, stainless steel is magnetic, so we can use the magnet. The magnet will attract the stainless steel paper clips as they are magnetic, as steel is magnetic, while brass is non-magnetic, so it will not attract it. Sand and water, insoluble solid and solvent. It's insoluble, so we can use filter paper and funnel. Thank you, grade 3, for watching the video. I hope you print this sheet and answer it, because it's very useful. Hope you understand every point, and if you have any problem in understanding the sheet or in understanding any question, don't hesitate to ask. Thank you so much. Bye bye.